Hello, I'm back. This is Rayleigh Pierce, your certified parent coach and former Waldorf admissions director, as well as Waldorf parent. And I'm excited today to talk to you about communication within a Waldorf school. These concepts are coming to you from a book that I highly recommend called The Second Classroom by Torrin Finzer. It's important as you think about your child going into the classroom, or if you're a teacher watching this, thinking about how you want your parents to communicate with you. I love this idea that Torrin Finzer brings to us called practicing conscious trust. So, parents want to know that their children are learning, that they're safe and they're loved. And if you have confidence in your child's teacher, extend your trust because the teacher needs the space in which to work. We have a culture that tends to not trust initially and needs to say, I want you need to prove that you are trustworthy. But in a Waldorf school, our goal is to initially come in together with this decision that we have decided to consciously trust each other. And, obviously, trust cannot be blind. That's why we're calling it conscious, because it means engaging in dialogue when we need to, that we follow up on issues when necessary. We're not afraid of the challenge or the conflict that is presenting to us. This is how we grow, this is how we learn. And this is part of being that spiritual being who has these beautiful innate qualities within them to have confidence, to be compassionate, to communicate in ways that we know are mature together. And we know that it's through conflict that we grow, and that we experience ways of working with people together in this type of situation. This is a journey you're taking with this teacher as a parent. And of course, as a teacher, this is a journey you're taking with this family. And it means understanding how to engage and then knowing when to back off when something needs space to be resolved. I know that parents tend to really want something to be addressed right away. Waldorf schools do tend to take some time because they like to get the input of all parties. So that would be the teacher, and perhaps if it's a subject teacher, they need to check in with, as well as, of course, the parents. And then if they need extra support, if there's someone at the school who can help with that communication, then they may be involved. So there is a lot going on within a Waldorf school to communicate well. So trying to find a way forward, and of course, knowing that we can find a way when we are stuck, that we can get through this together, that we are in this together. And when parents give teachers space for this growth to happen and development within these reasonable bounds, this is what we mean by conscious trust. So, what is conscious trust versus blind trust? Well, conscious trust means that we've been informed. We know that we have a teacher who is skilled. We've met this teacher. We have seen how this teacher is relating to our child, perhaps, and we're choosing this school and this classroom and this teacher for our child. We've informed ourselves. This isn't like being in public school where things just happen to you and you're there and this is the teacher that's been given to you. This is making a decision. You've chosen this path for your family. And it means that you've assessed and that you have some sort of reliability around the intentions of this teacher. And so there's just this idea that we're choosing. Obviously, boundaries, maintaining clear boundaries and recognizing our own limits. And sometimes we have to back up and apologize if we've said something and make a repair. Sometimes our emotions, right, when it involves our child, we can be very emotional and we might say something that we regret as a parent. And being able to retract and repair is part of a conscious trust. And a blind trust would just be kind of unquestioningly trusting that things will go the way they need to, or some naivete, not having boundaries, kind of just jumping in without being informed. So I really love this too, thinking about when we're in within this conscious trust. Here we have the first space here, this circle. That represents the faculty and the staff of the school. And they make the pedagogical decisions, the school policies and the curriculum. They're trained professionals to do that work. And as parents, we don't entangle ourselves in that typically. We've addressed that this is a group of people who've created these things for a reason. And perhaps if we do have an issue, we take it through the right channel and we perhaps come with an inquiry to have clarification about something. And maybe if it's not working for us, we can share what's not working and then see if the school has a response to that. So just working within a reasonable way. But generally speaking, that first space is where the faculty and the admin kind of live, and parents aren't involved in those kinds of things. And then you have in this second space where we have the parents, right? You have a parent where their realm of child rearing and the matters of the home life, they're distinct from the school. And it wouldn't be appropriate for teachers to disrespect or judge parents about their parenting decisions. And yet, right, we know that these two circles do overlap, especially in a Waldorf school where we have chosen a school that has a set of values that we are aligning with. And the goal here is that we're working out of this together. And of course, what the child experiences at home will affect their work in the school, and what they're experiencing at school, they will be bringing home into the home life. And so some of these things that, of course, are obvious that overlap, we have starting usually around fourth grade and older, we have homework coming up and how the child is given a space to do that work and what that work entails. Parents would have to work with the teacher to create that kind of space. The amount of sleep a child is getting at night, we know how important sleep is. And actually, the morning, the start of a day in Waldorf starts the night before. It doesn't start the morning of, it starts the night before with the amount of sleep the child is getting. A very solid, bedtime routine is expected in a Waldorf school for children, because we value good sleep, we value nourishing meals, we value well-being. And so these are values that we're thinking if a parent is choosing this school, that they're aligning with these values, and they may not be at that point of the routine being beautiful and completely perfect in any way. Maybe they're still having some processed foods and things like that, of course. And perhaps they're not completely off of screens. Like, we're not looking for perfection, but if you're not aligned at all with any of that, and you're not really thinking your kid should be outside, and you're not really thinking that it matters what time and how much they get to sleep, and we're not really paying attention to what foods they're eating and how it affects their thinking and their body and their behavior, well, that's going to be challenging for both the parent and the teacher. So the goal here is that we are looking for some mutual agreements. And so, of course, any of these areas that kind of go into the third space, that's where we're going to have perhaps some mutual concerns where we can work together as a parent and a teacher. And this third space is what we'll call the relationship zone. It's here where the teacher and the parent can connect and bring their insight to work of educating and meeting the needs of the child, right? So we have the parent who knows their child so well, and we have a teacher who's seeing a side of the child that the parent would be interested in and knowing about. And so coming together, you can bring both of your sets of knowledge and address what is going on. So some things to think about typically in a Waldorf school, There really isn't any substitution for participation. Like, there is this value that parents will be very involved in their child's school life. And these events can be a lot of fun. And this is where you can develop wonderful parent to parent connections and deep friendships for many years, even after children leave the school. And if you have an observing eye, you can learn a lot about how a school works and what makes people tick, and how teachers interact with each other and parents interact with each other by being an observer or participant in these activities. That way, when you have questions or a concern, you actually are coming as a participant rather than somebody who's been outside of kind of everything that the school is doing and promoting to help you understand where they are, what their values are. You know, if you've been on the outside and have been kind of outside of all of these things, and then you actually have a concern, it doesn't land the same way. And a lot of parents will find that their concerns are kind of diminished out of their own participation in many of these activities. So, of course, if your schedule prevents you from participating in the fullest extent possible to these kinds of activities, you can, I recommend telling your teacher at the beginning of the year about your circumstances and what you can and cannot do, so that they have an idea that you want to be a full participant, but sometimes your work schedule or the expectations of your younger child or whatever might be going on might prevent you from attending, and you just want them to know that your intention is to be part of things. And of course, most teachers are very understanding, and they might set up a communication buddy system with another parent so you can get updates. And at the bare minimum, you can commit to even just reading your emails, of course, and notices from the school, and choose a few events to attend and make the most of those. And not everything at the school is of equal importance. So I would say asking your teacher to make sure that you're aware of what is really important for you to attend. Well, I hope that this has been helpful in thinking about parent and teacher communication. And this concludes this portion of the onboarding session. Thank you.